like, woo! Yeah.
Exactly. And I was like, okay, what this does is it robs women of any hope of their salvation. Why? Because to be saved, if you are an Orthodox Christian, you will know you need humility and repentance. And what happens with women is we have this incredible power from about age 16, when we first start developing and the boys start noticing, to about, give or take, 25 to 35, depending on, how well you keep up the illusions. To a certain age, we have this incredible power that, if we had indefinitely, would damn us. It would absolutely, there's no way you could have that kind of allure and sexual power. Like, men will do anything for you just because of what you're sitting on, right? Just because of what you look like, just because of the thing you have that you were just born with, that you didn't do anything to earn or deserve. There's a reason why that power is temporary and short-lived. It's only supposed to be for this short window of your life. And by trying to extend that indefinitely, and then also taking away the consequences of using that sexuality, right? With abobos, with artificial wombs, with birth control, with all this stuff, trying to be a sex goddess from 16 to 86 means that we now have this culture of young women who are completely narcissistic. They are unable to accept even the slightest criticism. Nothing is ever their fault. They believe they are good enough just the way they are, and nothing about them needs to change. It's the world that needs to change, society needs to change, and the men need to change. All you got to do is look at Lizzo or women like her. They're not LARPing. They believe this down to their bones. And when you have that belief about yourself, you have made yourself unable to see God, unable to be saved, unable to submit to God, to the church, to a husband. The only thing you'll submit to is the dollar and to attention and to your own self-worship. And this is how feminism truly destroys women. And then these women have children. And how many men in my live chat right now were raised by a single mom who had these delusions or had this attitude, and she destroyed your childhood and then told you it was your privilege because mommy needs to be happy. So if you don't get to have a childhood, that, you should be glad because at least mommy had a job and mommy was sexually free and all her boyfriends could come and go and mommy got to be happy. And that's what really matters. So this is far more nefarious and insidious than I think people realize, because they don't have what JimBob always talks about, which is telos. They don't have purpose. They don't have any sort of grand narrative that gives them an ought in life or helps them define truth in the person of Christ. Because why do you need that if you think you are perfect, blameless, and sinless just the way you are, which is what feminism deludes young women into thinking. So there's my rant.
Yeah, we also that it kind of points to this, and again there's all of the influences you mentioned, but then there's like this constant looking at the screens and the filters, and then it's not just young girls who think they need to now look like the filter, and they don't even care if it's fake. They're like, well, that's the standard now. Women get older, it's like Megan and I will go out and we'll see, like, if we see like a woman who's like in her 70s or 65 and she has purple hair and she's trying to do this like youthful thing, we just cringe. We just go, you're supposed to be the wholesome grandma. You could still be kind of wild grandma and whatever, free spirit grandma, or whatever. Yeah, fun grandma, but this thing where you're gonna be youthful and I think it's harder for women. Like you said, women to their peak, the youthfulness of women, and when men look at them to procreate, it's gonna be that window. Whereas men, they could kind of age more gracefully, let's say, and still be within the sort of marketplace of sex. At least, not that they should. It's just that's just a reality. But you watch the women try to sort of like force themselves into a younger generation by trying to act all crazy and the hair and you're just going, that's not how you gain the value that you could gain at your age. The value you have is sort of a matriarchal position. Not to say that I want a matriarch society. It's just that the powerful woman who's wise, who then teaches women how to be women and mother children, is a whole other thing. That we're just talking about mothers right now. I mean, that's how
Yeah.
that just shows the problem that there's not even two generations, right, that we're critiquing, because we don't even have that second generation. We're trying to reclaim the first one, just the motherhood. But when you really look at what is lost and what could be gained by sort of reestablishing that line, you get the strong the father who's now a grandfather, and the grandmother, and they serve as the sort of the they're in the hierarchy. And what do
Yes.
they represent? Well, they represent love. They represent that commitment, that how long that can go. Like, my parents are still
Mhm.
together. That has such a profound effect on me. But it also represents something more than just durability of the marriage. It represents that my mom's not, she doesn't watch Eat, Pray, Love and go, "Oh, I need to rediscover myself. I'm going on a tour to Tuscany." And my dad's not like, suddenly he's going to start wearing like, hipster clothes and being like, "I never got to skateboard. It's because I married so young." He's not, because that they're, I mean, and thank God they're not vulnerable, but some people are. They really think that there's this like, sort of like, they used to say it was like a middle-aged, what was it called?
Midlife crisis.
Midlife crisis. Well, that got to the quarterly level now, right? And now there's multiple. And I think it is caused by this kind of sort of worship yourself. Well, I need to have my fun now. And then the mom leaves and abandons the kids. Or the father leaves, right? I need to be free. This is my sexual prime. Just because I knocked you up doesn't mean, I have to do this for me. I'll be resentful if I don't do it.
Right.
These are both weaknesses for the men and the woman. And it's really hard to battle for the new generations. I actually have sympathy for them, because there's buckets of just self glorification just being
Yeah.
dumped on them, right? And